everybody. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this album. I'm so psyched that I found it. And I found it at my local place, which is even better. Support your local record stores, guys. They're working hard for you. But this is an album that I didn't think I was going to find for a few reasons. One, it's not by a super popular artist, where they, when they printed hundreds of thousands of copies of albums, they printed hundreds of thousands of copies of this album. Um, it was released in 1988, so CDs were already starting to take prominence then. Yeah, it's just one of those things I just didn't see out in the wild, but I managed to find it, and I'm super psyched because it's an amazing album. Joe Jackson live, 1980 to 86. Very nice. The cover's a little beat up, but very, very nice vinyl inside of it. The album sounds great. You'd be forgiven if you don't know too much about Joe Jackson. Joe Jackson got the shaft in the Fame game, unfortunately, at least in the U.S. I can't speak for overseas. I think he's probably more well known in the U.K. Is there a U.K. anymore? Did we get a judge's ruling on that? I don't know if it's. I'm so confused about all of that. But in any case, Joe Jackson, probably best known for "Is She Really Going Out with Him?" That was one of his first big hits in the U.S. in the '80s. And he kind of got lumped in with the whole new wave thing coming in, fairly or unfairly. Having listened to him for a long time, it doesn't really track. So that seems to have been a miscategorization. But in any case, this isn't just a great album. This is a great live album. And when you're talking about great live albums, this one just fails to come up in the conversation. Same thing with Billy Joel's Songs in the Attic. That's another amazing live album that is just criminally underrepresented and overlooked unfairly. But there are some live albums that capture a particular show or a tour. This really sums up the work of Joe Jackson and his band through this entire era. Like, if somebody came to me and said, "Hey, give me a list of 20 Joe Jackson songs so I know what I'm getting into," that they would probably be pretty close to this. This playlist is a really good place to start if you want to get into some Joe Jackson. And this really shows off his... he's a composer in the same way that Zappa is, except that Zappa went avant-garde and Joe Jackson stayed in the pop and orchestral realm. He's scored movies, he's done some instrumental albums and things like that. So he's very much a structure guy, a composer guy. And that shows on here, especially, it's a 2-album set, so especially on the second album. And he says this in the liner notes. Remember liner notes, kids? They give Grammys away for liner notes. You don't get these on digital. He talks about changing the arrangements, partially out of, they were on the road for so long, they wanted to keep from getting bored. And so a lot of these are vastly different than the studio versions, which is fun. And some of these, I think, are even in a lot of ways better than the studio versions. The live version of a slow song will break your heart, man. I mean, the studio version will bring a tear to my eye. This live version is something else, man. This will just hit you where you live. And the musicianship here is incredible. I'm a rhythm section guy. I love some bass and drum work, and Graham Maybe is a phenomenal bassist. Probably, he is right up there with Entwistle, as far as I'm concerned. He's just amazing. And if you get a nice clean copy and you're listening to it on a good system and just checking out that bass, it really shines through. The percussion work on here is great. There's this call and response drum solo in this album that is just, it's just worth the price of admission. And on a personal note, man, like this album is one of the reasons I wanted to find it is it's just a special album. for me. There are some, and this is another reason why I really, really dig collecting vinyl now, is that these are physical touchstones of very special times and places, some of these albums. My college roommate turned me on to Joe Jackson. And he, came to the dorm with like this great stereo and these big crates full of records and stuff. And these bands, the names I'd heard of just from like reading Rolling Stone and stuff, but had never listened to. And these were cool kid bands, bands from like England and stuff you'd find in the import bin and stuff like that. And among these were pretty much all of the Joe Jackson albums. And I got to listening to them and just fell in love with this guy's music. And this album in particular, there are specific moments tied to specific songs on this album that just really are really part of a very special time and place. And that is part of the magic of vinyl, man. It is just a way to just bring those memories right back to life. Just put you in that space in the best way possible, man. So I hope that whoever gave this album up has some special memories attached to it as well, and can keep those with them. But it's mine now, so it stays here. So yeah, it's a great album. It's a great collection of songs. It is available streaming, so if you want to check it out there and keep an eye out for a vinyl copy. But there is no better introduction, I think, to the music of Mr. Joe Jackson than this album right here. And it's just a kick-ass album from beginning to end as well. And who knows, man? Like if enough of us get together, maybe we can give Joe Jackson his due and make him as famous as he should be. Because in a world that made Foreigner popular, and we all share some responsibility for that, we can do better. We can make Joe Jackson a household name. So thanks, and thanks for checking it out. Like and subscribe if you're so inclined, and I'll check you out later talking about some more records. Bye.
Know your dope fiend.